Hello guys, I'm Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on the show, the Tuesday edition of the I Love CVille Show. Election Day, with two very important races upon us in Charlottesville and Albemarle County. One of them is City Council. The Democratic primary determines the outcome of two spots on council. Incumbents Juan Diego Wade and Brian Pinkston, challenged by Jen Fleisher.
Yep.
In a rank choice voting competition of conversational proportions. Arguably the most important race on today's, one of my favorite days of the year, Election Day. Arguably the most important race, ladies and gentlemen, is the Jack Jouett race, where Sally Duncan, the activist, the progressive, is running against Dave Shreve, the moderate Democrat. One candidate, Sally Duncan, will raise your taxes. One candidate, Sally Duncan, will increase housing density in Albemarle County. The other candidate, Dave Shreve, is looking to keep taxes in check. The other candidate, Dave Shreve, is really not looking to prioritize housing. One candidate, Sally Duncan, is backed by the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors. One candidate, Sally Duncan, is backed by the Blue Ridge Home Builders Association. The other candidate, Dave Shreve, backed by neither development or housing organization, but does have the backing of Sonia Smith. A lot we're going to cover on the show, including some of the other folks that are backing Dave Shreve's campaign. We encourage you, the viewer and listener, to chime in with conversation, ask questions, challenge us. We'll talk on today's program, progress at Blue Moon Diner, as an institutional diner is getting new life, but perhaps the new life that we may not want. And I'm not trying to throw shade what's coming there. I'm just saying it may not be Blue Moon Diner 3.0. We'll talk on today's show, Superintendent Matthew Haas of Albemarle County getting a contract extension. Very intriguing times for the Albemarle County School Board, who just gave themselves a significant raise. And folks, we called that raise last week mistakenly a 60% raise, more like a 100% raise for the Albemarle County School Board. Now they extend Superintendent Matthew Haas. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm left scratching my head here saying, goodness gracious, why do this? But maybe you, the viewer and listener, can offer some insight onto why he was extended. We'll remind the viewers and listeners that Roger Voisinet and Richard Price are on tomorrow's show. The realtor developer, Roger Voisinet, the evangelist and champion of Charlottesville, Roger Voisinet, Richard Price, the architect, the developer, the tremendous squash player, the advocate for bicycle riding around Charlottesville. They're going to join us on the show. I think they're bringing a third person with them, are they not, Judah?
Say that again?
Richard and Roger. There's a third individual coming with them tomorrow. These are the developers, guys, behind Woolen Mills Court, which is going to be the first, ladies and gentlemen, project under the new zoning ordinance, birthed in Charlottesville, Woolen Mills Court. We'll talk about that on tomorrow's edition of the I Love CVille Show. Hit the like button. Do us a favor, like the show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search I Love CVille Network. Hit the notifications so you're reminded when we go on air. You get pinged when we go on air. We work hard for you. We don't ask for Patreon. We don't ask for membership. We don't ask for donations. We just ask you to join us in the conversation. Judah Wickower, studio camera, and then a two-shot. When I ask you which headline is most intriguing to you and why, I'm curious of what you have to say because I respect your opinion. So, Judah Wickower, which headline is most intriguing to you and why?
I'm excited for the Blue Moon spot to be getting filled. So that's what intrigues me.
Blue Moon Diner, the institutional diner, has an ownership team that is pursuing the revitalization of Blue Moon Diner. I've been told will not be Blue Moon Diner. I've also been told that they're looking at potentially purchasing the building and or have done so. That story coming up on the program. The lead of the show, however, Judah, has got to be Election Day. And before we get to our commentary on Election Day, we'll highlight the fine folks at Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion, their family, 4 generations strong in Albemarle County. Their business, Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com, and located on East High Street. 61 years has proudly served this community. They keep our swimming pool crystal clear, the best water possible. And ladies and gentlemen, whether you're in the commercial cleaning business or you just need your house cleaned, an Airbnb clean, a rental property clean, your home clean, Charlottesville Sanitary Supply is where you want to go. Support the businesses that are honest, communicative, knowledgeable, and full of integrity. And goodness gracious, the Vermillions embody that. Before we offer our commentary on Election Day, Judah Wickower, I think I want to offer just words of encouragement for all viewers and listeners. Please vote. Mm-hmm. Please vote. If you live in the Jack Jouett district and you are an independent or you're a Republican or you're agnostic when it comes to voting, I want to remind you that just because it's a Democratic primary does not mean that you cannot vote. Anyone can vote in this Democratic primary with Dave Shreve and Sally Duncan. Anyone can vote. Republicans can vote. Independents can vote. Socialists can vote. Activists can vote. Democrats can vote. Anyone can vote in this Democratic primary. And ladies and gentlemen, I say this without hyperbole. I say this straight face. I say this monotone. I say this with 25 years of experience living in this community. The Sally Duncan versus Dave Shreve race is in monumental importance in Albemarle County. If Sally Duncan, and you can start rotating lower thirds on screen here, if Sally Duncan were to get elected, and I'm going to offer you my opinion on who you should vote for. You can listen to me if you want. You don't have to listen to me. It's completely up to you, the viewer and listener, of what you want to do. But if Sally Duncan were to get elected, you will, without question, have your residential and personal property taxes, your real estate taxes, the taxes on your home, the taxes on your vehicles increased. You will, without question, have less money in your pocket if Sally Duncan is elected. You will, without question, face more tax exposure in June and December of every year when Albemarle County mails you a tax bill. Okay? She's running on a campaign of, I'm just a school teacher with children trying to afford a house in Albemarle County, and I can't right now because I'm a renter and a tenant. That's bogus. She's renting a massive house in Earlysville. Her husband makes a significant six-figure salary in Charlottesville City, working for City Hall. I don't want to hear any of the poor speak from the Duncan campaign because it's disingenuous. I can confirm that if Sally Duncan is elected, our taxes will increase in June and December. And if you're feeling a pinch or you say enough already, then Shreve is your vote. And folks, look, Dave Shreve is no perfect candidate. There are no such things as perfect candidates. Okay? We have questions about some of the analysis and commentary that he's written for his employer or in previous volunteer organizations, previous engagement organizations. But the commentary and analysis that he has provided from an economic standpoint is not something that is going to impact his time on the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors in any capacity. This guy does not have control over population in Albemarle, okay? So the Livable Charlottesville and the Diantha McKeel and the Sally Duncan crews and posses and gangs that are trying to label Dave Shreve, they're doing that as a political tactic to smear, tar, and feather him. From my standpoint, this county cannot support increased density when infrastructure is as throttled as it is. Schools are throttled. Roads are throttled. Crozet is screaming, stop building. Multifamily housing is coming online in the next 12 to 18 months to the tune, ladies and gentlemen, of 3,000 or 4,000 units. Enough with the building, enough with the taxes, enough with the impact on quality of life. That's my take, my 2 cents. Do what you want with it. And I will highlight this, that Dave Shreve is being endorsed by Jim Hingley the Albemarle County Commonwealth's attorney, Jim Hingley, is endorsing Dave Shreve. Amy Laufer, the Virginia State delegate, is endorsing Dave Shreve. David Toscano has endorsed Dave Shreve. Outgoing Albemarle County Supervisor Jim Andrews is endorsing Dave Shreve. Liz Palmer, the former Albemarle County Supervisor, has endorsed. All these people have endorsed Dave Shreve. I'm going to give you the list verbatim from Dave Shreve's website. You ready? Commonwealth's Attorney Jim Hingley. What do you make of Jim Hingley?
Solid guy.
Measured man.
Definitely.
Would not be passing out endorsements like candy. Jim Hingley,
100%.
Endorsing Dave Shreve. Amy Laufer, the Virginia State delegate. David Toscano, former city councilor, former Virginia State delegate, former minority leader. Jim Andrews, current Albemarle County supervisor. Liz Palmer, former Albemarle County supervisor. Dennis Rooker, former Albemarle County supervisor. Sally Thomas, former Albemarle County supervisor. The county clerk of Albemarle, John Sugg, is endorsing Dave Shreve. Patty Halling, the former chair of the Albemarle County Democratic Party. Linda Perriello, endorsing Dave Shreve. Abigail Turner. Lonnie Murray, the planning commissioner, endorsing Dave Shreve. Kathy Galvin, former city councilor. These are people I personally know.
Yeah, it's an impressive list.
That I have a tremendous respect for. You know who's endorsing Sally Duncan? You want to know who's endorsing Sally Duncan?
Yeah.
Livable Charlottesville. Matthew Gillikin and Stephen Johnson. And Diantha McKeel. That's who is endorsing Sally Duncan. Livable Charlottesville is endorsing Sally Duncan. Anything you want to add, Judah Wickower? Kevin Yancey says, if you don't vote, you can't complain. Amen, brother.
Amen.
Good afternoon to you as well. Stacey Baker Patty says, it's Dave Shreve for her. Respect, Stacey Baker Patty, and love running into you when I do. Tina Breeden, Thomas Taylor, welcome to the broadcast. Judah Wickower, your thoughts on all this before we go to the next topic.
I appreciate Dave's vision for Albemarle County. He supports teachers. He's environmental protection advocate, and he came on the show and wasn't afraid to tell us what he's about.
A vote for Duncan is a vote for taxes and less money in your pocket. A vote for Duncan is a vote for more housing, more density, more infrastructure strain. Next topic, ranked choice voting. Judah Wickower, what do you got?
Let's see. We've got a heated CVille City Council Democratic primary race.
Yeah. Wade, Pinkston, and Jen
Fleisher.
Fleisher, Wade, and Pinkston. Wade's the mayor. He's the incumbent.
Mm-hmm.
Pinkston's the vice mayor. He's the incumbent. Fleisher, the newcomer. Very curious to see how this goes. Ranked choice voting, first time we've seen it in Central Virginia, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
First time we've seen it.
So far, just approved for primary races. After this, we will see if it gets legs and continues.
What do you make of Fleisher, Pinkston, and Wade, and how this is going to play out? What's your take first, and then who should folks vote?
Oh, man. Well, my take is that, for me at least, I think Juan Diego Wade and Brian Pinkston are known elements. I also know that Fleisher is opposed to the flock cameras. I also feel a little bit. I mean, I don't vote in the CVille election anyways, because I'm out in Albemarle County. But it's a tough one. My take is that Fleischer is not going to make it.
Your take is Fleischer. Wow. Should we do we have a prop bet on our hands?
No.
You don't want to make a prop bet?
No,
Why don't we make a prop bet?
I'm just
even if you lose the prop bet, we still drink the scotch together.
Yeah.
It's not like you lose. You just have to buy the scotch. I think Juan Diego Wade's a slam dunk here. I think Juan Diego Wade is a slam dunk to win. The interesting wrinkle here is Juan Diego Wade, who is neighbors, like living neighbors, residential neighbors with Brian Pinkston. They are running on a ticket together, Pinkston and Wade.
Yeah.
Does Wade's institutional brand, the fact that he's so invested from his time on the school board, so invested working with local jurisdictions, just being a civil servant, does that institutional brand equity, is it enough to take Brian Pinkston, who's already lost one council race? He won in the second try.
So
Lost the first one.
Does Wade pull Pinkston up, or does Pinkston pull Wade down?
I don't think Pinkston's going to pull Wade down, but does Wade have the je ne sais quoi to pull Pinkston up? Jen Fleischer, very interestingly, also backed by Livable Charlottesville
Yeah.
and the Gillikin gang. Fleischer backed by Livable Charlottesville. Ladies and gentlemen, we will learn a lot of this race and the influence Livable Charlottesville has, which I can tell you right now is growing in significance. And that should give everyone watching and listening to this show pause for concern that a progressive socialist activist group in Charlottesville is infiltrating Albemarle County and without question influencing elections.
Yeah.
Should give you pause for concern. Wade's a slam dunk. I think Pinkston has vulnerability.
Yeah.
I think Pinkston has vulnerability because of vanilla-ness. No insult to Brian. I think that's safe to say. He would agree. I think Pinkston got caught in a crossfire that he shouldn't have, not this close to an election, with the Kevin Cox fiasco, when Cox was speaking before council on the sidewalks on Elliott Avenue.
Yeah.
Pinkston was the fall guy for that. And I think there is something to be said about a woman winning a spot on council for a little bit more balance. Right now, Natalie Oshrin, the only one.
Yeah.
And I also think that Fleischer, to her point, has done a phenomenal job of building her brand personally, professionally, civically, from an activist standpoint, from a community engagement standpoint. The three, Pinkston, Wade, and Fleischer, there's not a ton of separation there.
Right.
There's not a ton of separation there.
I think that's my biggest problem with a lot of these inter-party races that we end up with in.
Well,
in
we have
Virginia.
significant separation. I'll push back respectfully on that. We have significant separation with
Yeah.
Dave Shreve and Sally Duncan.
No doubt.
They are Democrats, but are polar opposite Democrats.
Yeah. that's
Polar
true.
opposite.
I didn't mean every single race. I just
Fleisher,
meant-
Pinkston, and Wade, very similar. You can point to the flock cameras.
Yeah.
Curious of what Fleischer says about jails. Because last night we have, in 3-2 vote, Snook, Wade, and Pinkston, City Council says, let's go with building the new jail. We'll approve the budget. We will build the Hilton, the Marriott.
They're going to get the money from bonds, aren't they?
They are okaying this jail for Charlottesville. Now Albemarle County and Nelson County, ladies and gentlemen, have to vote. I believe Albemarle County voting this week. They're going to build literally the Hilton or Marriott of jails for criminals.
You really think that?
Oh, look at the money they're investing. Mr. Hingley watching the program, if he is watching the program now, he would say, "Hey, I'm an advocate for this jail project," and he'd say, and he has offered, Jim Hingley has offered you and I a tour of the jail and why it needs to improve. I understand why folks are saying the jail needs to improve. I also say that, ladies and gentlemen, building the Hilton or Marriott of jails for alleged criminals or convicted criminals is a wasted use of taxpayer dollars. Do you have the story in front of you? Is it something like $30 million for Charlottesville City? Do you have the story in front of you?
I don't, but I can find it.
Deep Throat watching the program, get his photo on screen and then see if you can find that story. Number one in the family. He's watching in a sprawling ranch in Montana. I think this is what Deep Throat says. He says, I think Brian Pinkston is toast. He was never particularly popular in his own right. He ran against a very weak competition when he finally did win. I don't think the kerfuffle with Kevin Cox helped either. Showed how little he knows, and in spite of being the aggressor in that exchange, he revealed himself as easily roiled and a wimp. But in the end, I doubt Pinkston and Fleisher come down on the opposite side of many important issues. Bingo, that's it right there. We're dealing with the same situation. 3 peas in a pod with Wade, Pinkston, and Fleisher. Maybe you can point to flock cameras as a potential difference right there. Ginny Who watching the program. She says, can I have a third choice? I don't like either one, but if I'm forced to, I'm going to vote Dave Shreve. Ginny Who says. Ginny Who also says, you're getting photos on screen when you can. I know I'm asking you to multitask over here, and you're doing a great job of it, Judah. She also says, Matthew Haas, exponentially increasing homeschool and private school numbers, one extension at a time. Ginny Who, you're 100% right. Matthew Haas getting a contract extension June 2028. Superintendent, Albemarle County Public Schools is without question driving private school and homeschooling enrollment. There's a reason the private schools in this community are cap-axing. They're looking to expand, ladies and gentlemen, infrastructure and doing fundraising of significant proportions to build more buildings, to house more students, to up enrollment. Carol Thorpe watching the program. Queen of Jack Jouett. Carol Thorpe, her photo on screen. My spinal condition has flared up today, Jerry, and I'm texting from my bed, unfortunately. I will be dragging my ass up and taking my husband with me to vote for Dave Shreve when he gets off from work after 5 p.m. Carol Thorpe, we wish you the best with your health. We appreciate you, Queen of Jack Jouett. You are as in touch with current events and news and politics in this community as any Carol Thorpe. Elliot Harding, the talented Esquire watching the program. Elliot Harding knows politics like the Pope knows holy water. He knows politics like Doc Brown knows DeLoreans and flux capacitors. He knows politics like Judah Wickhauer knows cardigans and button-down shirts and the dog days of summer. Elliot Harding says this, I wish Fluvanna could replace Nelson County as the jail stakeholder. You give me a thumbs up when you have that jail story, Judah. Elliot Harding says, I wish Fluvanna could replace Nelson County as the jail stakeholder. The jail does need upgrades, and I'm hopeful they provide some outdoor space for the folks who find themselves behind bars. Granted, I would prefer to see continued growth of home electronic monitoring for nonviolent offenders instead of incarceration in the jail. This is a significant project. I believe the city, is it $30 million?
For the whole thing, or are you talking about
the city's portion?
I have not found anything about
Goodness
just
gracious, great
the
balls of
city's
fire.
portion.
Oh, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. It's a Charlottesville City Council gave the go-ahead for financing. I found this in 5 seconds, Judah.
I'm looking at the same thing, $49 million.
$49 million renovation project.
But is that just the Charlottesville portion of what it's going to cost?
The project needs the same approval Wednesday from the Albemarle Board of Supervisors and next week from the next Nelson County Board of Supervisors. 3-2 vote. Juan Diego Wade, Pinkston, and Lloyd Snook voted approving. Alshern and Payne said no. Of course Alshern and Payne said no. Of course they did. The Hilton of jails right here.
It was supposed to cost no more than $39 million, and the lowest bid that came in was $53 million.
Absolutely insanity. Let's build a motel for alleged and convicted criminals. Topic for another day. I don't want to get down that rabbit hole. I'm going to piss some people off that are listening here. Comments, put them in the feed. We will relay them live on air. It's election day. It's one of my favorite days, ladies and gentlemen. Martha Freeman, Vanessa Parkhill, welcome to the broadcast. Television, radio, and print, watching the show, Barbara Becker-Tilley. We love when you watch the program, Barbara Becker-Tilley. And you know what? I want to give some props on LinkedIn to one of our regular viewers and listeners that watches on demand, posts show, and always leaves kind comments for Judah and I. Victoria Gibbons, you watch the show post work, I think on LinkedIn, and I want to highlight, Victoria, how much I look forward to your comments on LinkedIn. She offers kind words to Judah and I after watching the show each evening, and Victoria, I look forward to hearing your comments and reading them on LinkedIn. I sincerely mean that. I sincerely mean that. Next headline, Judah Wickhauer, what do you got?
Let's see. We can talk about the new restaurant opening.
Blue Moon Diner. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm digging into this story as we speak. I'm reconnaissance, getting intel on this story as we speak. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a dumpster out front of Blue Moon Diner. I am told, ladies and gentlemen, I am told that there's an ownership team purchasing Blue Moon Diner, including buying the building.
Smart.
I am told, ladies and gentlemen, I am told that it's going to be a pub with dining upstairs. That's what I'm told, that they're buying the building. I'm working on confirmation. I heard it from one very reliable person that I trust. Then I confirmed it with another reliable person that I trust. I am working on reaching out to the ownership team. 3 partners buying the building and opening a pub with dining above it in the old Blue Moon Diner location. Initially, we will be saddened that Blue Moon Diner will not continue.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's good news that an empty storefront that's extremely visible on West Main Street will find not only a new tenant, but maybe a new owner of the real estate. If my intel is accurate, and I have proven 5 days a week on the I Love CVille show for the last, 8 to 10 years, that my info is accurate. And that's why you watch the show. This is a big story for Charlottesville City. It's a big story because West Main is a gateway. It's a connector with the downtown mall and the University of Virginia. And students, tourists, and townspeople alike, as they drive down West Main Street, seeing vacant and empty storefronts is not good for anyone.
Yeah.
And that Blue Moon Diner location is as important a piece of food and beverage real estate as you will find in Charlottesville because of the connectivity it offers, because of the energy it brings, because of the history behind the location.
Speaking of behind the location, I used to love going to claw matches behind Blue Moon Diner. Those were a lot of fun.
Claw is the stuff of legends.
Charlottesville ladies arm wrestling
Is the absolute stuff of legends. If you have not been to a claw event, you're missing something pretty iconic for Charlottesville.
No doubt.
If you're just tuning into the program, and I'm going to get to your comments for your viewers and listeners, 2 very connected and reliable people have confirmed with me that Blue Moon Diner is set to have new owners. New people have purchased the real estate, a team of 3 people. Blue Moon Diner will not reopen, but instead a pub, P-U-B, with dining upstairs will eventually materialize on this critically important food and beverage location. That is breaking news that you heard first on the I Love CVille show that will materialize in Legacy Media. I also want to confirm something. Last week, breaking news from the I Love CVille show on the 6 luxury brownstones on the site of 303 Alderman Road. I heard from a city councilor who watched our show on 303 Alderman Road and our breaking news that the 6 luxury brownstones, the banner promoting the brownstone creation and development in Lewis Mountain, I was told that that project has been scrapped. Over the weekend, a city councilor direct messaged me. I will not say who it was, but this city councilor said, Jerry, and I'm going to read this person's words verbatim to you. I'm looking at my phone and reading verbatim from the city councilor who listened to the show and our breaking news that the 6 luxury brownstones were scrapped. Jerry, concerning 303 Alderman, in the, quote, a little birdie once told me department, quote, I don't actually know, but I strongly suspect that the problem with the proposal was that it would have been in violation of setback requirements set forth in the deed to the property. I had a lot of email traffic with neighborhood folks, and they showed me the plat for the property that showed much larger setback requirements than the zoning ordinance set out. Of course, they would have to satisfy the setback requirements in their deed. They would not have been able to put 6 units on the property with those setbacks. I had not heard anything from anyone in the last 3 to 4 months, though, so there may be some other issue. But the constraint here was not going to be the zoning ordinance, but the original subdivision setbacks. City councilor watching the program yesterday sent me that direct message over the weekend on our breaking news that the 6th luxury brownstone project at 303 Alderman Road has been scrapped. I encourage print, radio, and television watching this program to dig into this story and offer some investigative reporting on what's happening at 303 Alderman Road. I encourage print, radio, and television that's watching this program, the editors that are watching this program, to send your staff writers out, your reporters out to see what's happening at Blue Moon Diner. The I Love CVille Show influencing what traditional and legacy media will do with their coverage. That's why you listen, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you listen. John Blair watching the program on LinkedIn. Jerry, it is also worth pointing out that there is a lieutenant governor and attorney general primary today for Democrats.
Yep.
While lieutenant governor is a ceremonial role, the attorney general is extremely important in all of our everyday lives, as they are statutorily appointed advocates for utility customers at state corporation commission meetings. Even if an independent or Republican, you might want to vote in the primary as well, as we all pay electric bills. That's from John Blair. You can offer Dominion commentary and Michael Bill's commentary from Clean Virginia on that, Judah Wickhauer.
Dominion has been spending a lot of money.
Screw Dominion. F Dominion. Monopoly. Give me a monopoly that's more damning on the Commonwealth of Virginia than Dominion. Give them the bird, Dominion. Go ahead, Judah.
Dominion Energy Virginia has contributed another $1 million plus to Virginia state level politicians. They clearly know who they want winning and losing. And activist group Clean Virginia,
led by Michael Bills and his partner, who is whom?
Let me check.
I know who it is. You know this off the top of your head. You're not going to find this online. Judah Wickhauer, Michael Bills, married to whom?
Oh, I do not know.
Sonia Smith.
Ah.
One of the top backers of Dave Shreve's campaign. Go ahead, Judah Wickhauer. Clean Virginia.
So Dominion Energy has spent a grand total of roughly $800,000 supporting Shannon Taylor's run for Attorney General.
Screw Dominion.
And for all their outcry about Dominion Energy spending money,
Screw Dominion.
Clean Virginia has spent quite a lot themselves. They've pumped another $665,000 into campaigns.
Michael Bills, the guy behind Clean Virginia, despises Dominion Electric. Michael Bills, are you watching the program right now? Michael Bills, put your hand up in solidarity and say it with me. Screw Dominion. Come on, Michael Bills, I give you a flying chest bump. Screw Dominion. Sonia Smith, a fist bump and chest bump for you. Screw Dominion. No one hates Dominion more than me. Maybe Michael Bills does. The guy is a billionaire. How much has Bills spent? That doesn't even include Sonia's money. Screw Dominion.
And that's not even, I don't believe that's even the total. It just says that it's $665,000 in late, large dollar donations, which means there may be a lot more. Jones individually, this is, let's see. Jones got $175,000 of that. Dominion is spending hand over fist. Like I said, the Shannon Taylor running for Attorney General has received $800,000. Former Richmond Mayor LeVar Stoney has received a total of $700,000, and that's for the lieutenant governor race.
Screw it to me. Speaking of Lieutenant Governor, Holly Foster is watching the program in Henrico. Whoever wins the Democratic primary, ladies and gentlemen, for Lieutenant Governor, they will win the Lieutenant Governor race. Because, let's cut to the chase, the Republican candidate, John Reed, has very little chance to getting elected in a Commonwealth of Virginia that is reeling post-Trump second-term victory.
No doubt.
The Reed campaign watches the show. They try to get John Reed on the program. Then John Reed stepped away from an interview that we planned, that they reached out to me about scheduling. We booked John Reed, said you can come on the show. You reached out to us about getting John Reed on the show. You had an opportunity to get in front of this crazy sextortion story and these phony burner accounts and all the stuff with Duncan and Duncan's lieutenant trying to smear him with dirty pictures and sex and nasty pictures and porn. Mm-hmm. And then you canceled the interview and it left a sour taste in my mouth. Okay? It left a sour taste in my mouth. Canceling the day of within 24 hours of the interview. But I'll be straightforward. The Commonwealth is so reeling post-Trump, Northern Virginia in particular, huge voter base, that the likelihood of John Reed winning in the general election is slim and far between. So whoever wins Democratic primary, lieutenant governor, you're looking at your lieutenant governor, ladies and gentlemen. Screw Dominion. Elliot Harding watching the program. I bet Charlottesville goes for Jones and Albemarle goes for Taylor by 1 to 2 points. That's Elliot Harding's pick. Elliot Harding knows what he's talking about, folks. That man's got his pulse on local politics. Next headline, what do you got, Judah Wickower? Is this Matthew Haas?
This is Matthew Haas.
I mean, this is insanity to me. Okay? In the last 5 days, the Albemarle County School Board has chosen to give itself, and I was corrected by a viewer and listener, 100% raise. You have what they up their total to. There goes Brian Haluska, Charlottesville City Hall. Find out what they up their pay to. The school board. And we made that mistake. Ladies and gentlemen. We called it a 60% raise at the end of last week on Thursday show, I think. We did that math in haste. Someone who watches this program that is much better at numbers than me, does numbers professionally, certified at doing numbers, said, hey, check your math. It's not a 60% raise. It's a 105% raise.
Yeah, it's up from 7,915 to 16,249.
As the host of this show and owner of the network, I'll take the arrows for getting that math wrong. 60% is what we said last week. 105%, the actuality. What's the number?
The number was 7,915. It will soon be 16,249.
105% raise?
Something like that.
Within 5 days, they've given themselves a 105% raise, the Albemarle County School Board. And then within the same 5-day period, they gave Dr. Matthew Haas a 1-year contract extension. When I last
checked... And a
checked,
raise.
What?
And a raise.
Well, his raise was 3% cost of living.
I know.
The 3% Dr. Matthew Haas is getting cost of living is a 3% raise that the University of Virginia employees are not getting. They are not getting. Mm-hmm. My point is this. In a 5-day period of time, you have a body of school board members. And Allison Spillman wasn't even present for the Matthew Haas vote. She was absent for the Matthew Haas vote to extend him. One of the most critical votes for an elected school board member to be at is the contract extension and raise of its superintendent. And she was not present. Throwing some shade at Allie Spillman there. In 5 days, the school board has given themselves a 105% raise and extended the contract of a superintendent that is wobbling on a foundation of credibility and integrity.
But
That is stumbling, wobbling, like a peg-leg pirate walking a ship's boardwalk or plank. That's how unstable his foundational integrity and foundational direction leading a school division that is struggling performance-wise. SOL's a leading indicator of what I'm talking about. Unbelievable, man. It flabbergasts me. And as Ginny Hu says, it's moves like this, a 105% raise from the school board and a contract extension that are driving private school enrollment and homeschooling. And I'm telling you right now, speaking firsthand, private school enrollment ain't cheap. Elementary school, first, second grade, you're talking all things considering $22,000, $23,000, $24,000, ladies and gentlemen. All the pomp and circumstance. And it gets even higher than that. Judah, you have thoughts.
I mean, we've always known that the school board has a love affair with Dr. Haas.
Does Haas have dirty pictures on the school board?
I think they just all...
Why is the school board infatuated with this man?
No idea.
Can any viewer and listener, Ginny Hu, do you know? Deep Throat, Elliot, newspapers, TV and print, Chad Wood. Why is the school board infatuated with this man? Does anyone know?
Maybe he's just got that riz.
It's his drip. It's the bow tie. It's the drip.
Could be.
Does Haas have drip? We got school buses that don't get kids to school on time, school buses that don't get kids home on time. We had a shit show of COVID and transitioning out of the pandemic. We have SOLs that are red flags everywhere, elementary, middle school, high school. We have royal rumbles and brouhahas and brawls of monumental proportions at Albemarle High School. We have a drug epidemic at Monticello High School. I mean, what is going on here? We have kids learning in trailers. Educational villages, Jerry. They're educational villages. They're not trailers. That looks like a trailer to me, dude. Why? What is going on? Deep Throat. By the way, interesting that Sonia Smith was all in giving money to LAJC, big mover behind CVille rezoning. But when it comes to her beloved Leafy County, she goes for the non-growth guy. And he throws some shade at Sonia Smith and calls her a hypocrite. I think it's more of an indication. I don't think she's necessarily a hypocrite in this case, Deep Throat. It's more of an indication of the disdain she has for Sally Duncan, Sonia Smith.
Wow.
Deep Throat says, in the end, Evergreen will probably be better putting 2 single-family houses at 303 Alderman Road as opposed to trying to cram on the... I'm not going to say that. The Justin Ship 6 brownstones. I'm not going to say what you actually wrote there. And he says, I also hate Dominion. They leave power poles in the middle of CVille sidewalks, and our numpty staff doesn't even make them get permits. See what would happen if you or I did anything without permits? Nice work from the freckless Jim Freeze. Dominion screws us all. And he says, if I had to guess, the school board abhors the idea of having to find a new superintendent and to step in and manage via an interim person for 1 to 2 years because it means more work for them. I don't get it. I mean, you have a job that pays probably with all pomp and circumstance, $250,000. I mean, Haas, the superintendent of Albemarle County, all the pomp and circumstance that comes with the job. You're looking at a $250K. Sorry, I got a real estate showing at 1:30, and I'm coordinating while doing this show. You're looking at a $250,000 job. I mean, you'd have superintendents lining up for that job. Does anyone get it? Chad Wood. We try to tell everyone the school board is for themselves and only themselves. They align politically, and that means more than academics for them, 100%. And they proved it by giving themselves a 105% raise in clandestine fashion. Then 4 days later saying, Matty Haas, you're getting an extension and a raise. Mm-hmm. Stacey Baker Patty, utterly ridiculous, while also absolutely not being ridiculous. That is a great statement from Stacey Baker Patty. It is utterly ridiculous that they gave themselves a 105% raise and Matthew Haas an extension, while absolutely not being surprising.
Yeah.
Janice Boyce Trevelyan asked the right questions, as JBT always does. JBT, Janice Boyce Trevelyan, always asks the right questions. Did the teachers get anything?
Sadly, I don't think they did.
The school board members got a 105% raise. Matthew Haas got another $250,000 plus a raise. Did the teachers get anything? And
Not
we're
that I've
wondering
heard.
why experienced teachers are sprinting out of Albemarle County. We wonder why. Any other headlines, Judah Wickower, at the 120 marker? We're actually making great time here. You've been really efficient with your commentary. Very efficient.
Thank you. That is it for our headlines.
Goodness gracious, so efficient. All right, that's the show. Roger Voisinet and Richard Price tomorrow. I know an email was sent to you, director and producer, of the third guest that they would have on the show with them tomorrow.
I believe it is Daniel Heyer.
And he's the builder, right?
I think you're correct.
So we have the architect, the landowner, and the realtor, and the custom home builder tomorrow on the show to talk about Woollen Mills Court. And we have visuals. We have architectural plans, we have renderings, and we have visuals we're going to show on screen.
A lot of them.
Tomorrow's show is going to be a master class on development, the new zoning ordinance, and bringing and converting a single-family detached home on a tiny parcel into 4 units. They're going to preserve the existing unit and build 3 others. You're looking at the first project, guys, in the new zoning ordinance here. The first one.
Yeah.
So if you're just tuning into the program, we broke some news. We'll try to confirm. The Chitter Chatter has Blue Moon Diner purchased by 3 partners, and they're converting it into a pub with dining in it. That's the Chitter Chatter.
That's going to be exciting.
We've heard it from 2 reliable sources. We broke news last week on 303 Alderman Road and the Brownstones project being put in the pooper. Let's see if Evergreen comes with 2 units, or maybe just, dude, if I'm Evergreen, I just take that rancher and build and turn it around and create something that you can sell for $2.7 million.
Yeah.
Maybe $3 million. That's what I would do. All right. Judah Wickower, yours truly, Jerry Miller, the I Love CVille Show on a Tuesday. Vote, 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 vote. Shreve, Shreve, Shreve. Screw Dominion. Screw Dominion. Screw Dominion.